You know, you'd think with an MBA, a certified financial analyst, and a fucking CPA, but he's only 25. He's only been out of school 3.5 years. And most of that was getting all these fucking degrees. But I said, Peter, they don't know that. But he knows it. And so when this we're not going to do the role play for them. But when I tell you, it's like when I was Baring Brothers, excuse me. The guy, the trader in Hong Kong or wherever, took him down and they had to buy the firm for a guilder or $1, whatever the fuck it was. I'm giving a presentation at Baring Brothers, and Lord Baring, I think his name was David Gunn, the chief investment officer, and a few other guys. I'm giving the prepresentation. I go through the presentation. Again, flip charts in those days. And so Lord Baring walks me to the door, to the lift. English do that. They walk you to the lift. They walk you, you know. Did the French walk you to the lift too? The elevator? No, I didn't. Okay. So we're walking, and there's rare pieces of art on the walls, so Lord Baring, I always try to make my presentations better, more succinct, slick. I mean, what could I do to change? You know. And I back into the lift, and as the elevator, like in a James Bond movie, as the elevator doors are slowly closing, like this, Lord Baring leans forward and says, Mr. Peña, actually, the only thing I do is learn how to stutter. And the elevator shut. What he was telling me is, you're too fucking slick. And back in those days, I was slicker than a baby with diarrhea. I mean, I was really slick.
He didn't like it.
No, he just thought that I was too slick. Okay, they took up their rights. They put the money in, but, you know, he was old enough to be my father. He was being nice to me. And I was slick. I mean, there was no question I was slick. And a lot of the Brits in those days couldn't talk very well. You know, every other thing was actually or quite. Now they're more slick. They're more westernized. And it taught me a great lesson. I mean, I toned down my shit. And the next time I went back to give a presentation there, I started out the presentation, Lord Baring, Mr. Gunn, and everybody just broke out in laughter. And but I got away with murder, you know, metaphorically speaking, murder, because there was nobody like that running around in those days. Now, I'm told there's a lot of mini-me's running around. I don't mean coaching shit and taking money from you guys, you poor fuckers, but I mean, you know, there's other guys that are slick, that, you know, do a good job. And by slick, I in no way, shape, manner, or form am I saying that we're not immoral or anything like it. They're just polished salesmen. And in those days, investment bankers didn't like to be thought of as salesmen. They were investment professionals. They didn't think of that of me as Bear Stearns. Danny's a great fucking salesman. He can get shit on the books. So, I mean, and the world's changed now. The world's changed. And, of course, now they've got women in those roles. And back in those days, they didn't. Very few and far between was there, as they used to call them, skirts running around. Probably that's politically incorrect. And you go to HR now, I mean, get your skirt, you know, I used to say, get your ass over here. You can't talk that way anymore. I still do, but I mean, you know, you politically correct guys won't talk that way. Any questions on, yes?
You were saying you were quite slick. Do you put it down to preparation and practice?
Oh, just like I prepared 80, 90 hours for this fucking seminar that I gave in a coma, I used to prepare like crazy for those meetings. You know, I used to go run through all the permutations. What can they ask me? And if I was going to give a presentation and they were bringing some assholes from Goldman Sachs or someplace in there, I prepared even more, because those guys could more readily see the holes in my presentation if I had any holes. But fortunately, I was smarter than most of them, so, you know, but I still prepared. I always prepare, and, you know, I'm going to say this for me, it doesn't necessarily mean anything for you. I prepare like they're as smart as I am. Now, if you prepare for as smart as you are, you're going to fucking fail. So, I mean, yeah. So I'm not suggesting that.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. Now, in a week from now, you're going to be slicker than baby shit. But you're not slicker than baby shit, even though you're a big property maggot. Okay? So, I mean, I prepare, the Goldman Sachs guy could actually have been smart, but I lucked out, he wasn't. So, I mean, I don't have to worry. So, I prepare as if I'm giving my presentation to myself. And that's at the very highest of standards. But I've been like this, like I told somebody here recently, since I'm 21 years old. I've always done my very best to be the most prepared in the room. The most prepared. Not the most 21-year-old, 25-year-old, or 30-year-old. The most fucking prepared in the room, everybody in the room. And it's boded, the rest is history. I mean, it's boded very well for me. And that's my military background, having to give presentations. You go outside my office, I got with generals and shit. As a young 21, 22, 23-year-old officer, I'm giving presentations to NATO commanders and shit like that. And they weren't interested that I didn't go to West Point. They weren't interested that I didn't go to Eton. They weren't interested that I didn't go to blah. All they knew is you're a fucking second or first lieutenant, and you're responsible for my fucking briefing today, Pina. Notwithstanding, you're the sorriest fucking piece of shit in this man's army that calls himself an officer. So they expect me to be like a West Point with a Harvard MBA. And so I did. There was no question about it. I was very well prepared. One of the best compliments I ever got was from a full bird colonel, a Marine guy. I gave a briefing, and nobody said I was worth a shit. Nobody said anything. But I'm walking down the hall. Nobody yelled at me, so it must have been good. The colonel says, "Lieutenant!" And he says, good job. Old fucks won't tell you that, but good job. He was a young bird colonel. So if you're the best prepared, and practice, when we're going to show some movies about Hitler and how he practiced. And Hitler, in my judgment, if not the greatest public speaker in the last 100 years, certainly one of the greatest public speakers in the last 100 years. And I just studied, I got a new part of the seminar, it's coming up tomorrow, I think, where, he was a fucking psychopath, maniac, goddamn. And a lot of people say, Dan, that's you. That's fucking you, Dan. And I said, no. And I'm not attributing anything. Hitler did all bad shit, so don't give me any shit from YouTube. But, his public speaking techniques and effectiveness, were second to none. Just think all the bad shit he got people to do. It's unbelievable, And you can't find, and I used to live in Germany, and I went to the University of Heidelberg not too long after the war, and you can't find anybody that knew anything about the concentration camps. Nowhere, no place, no how. They're all deaf, dumb, and blind, which is a whole other story. Any questions?
Do you think it's better to play on your strength or shore up your weakness?
No, I'm glad you said that. Forget your fucking weaknesses. Forget that shit. Beef up your strengths to the extent that you got any. And everybody's got at least one strength. Play off your strengths. It's a lot easier to make your strengths better than your weaknesses good. Play off your strengths, And dress the part. Dress for success. People will give you the benefit of the doubt, And we're going to talk about how to dress here, I think it's tomorrow or the next day. Some of you will be able to relate to the before and after picture. I already showed you some before and after pictures, okay? We used to take films of the way you show up to here at the castle. Well, some of you showed up in suits. And some of you didn't. And we used to give a prize for the biggest pig that showed up and the best dress that showed up. We don't do that anymore because I'm a kinder, gentler Dan. You know, I used to get a lot of fun on graduation night. And the biggest pig to show up, it's a little unusual this time because it's a gal. No, not true. But I mean, and in general, women show up to the seminar better than, dressed initially better than the men. Better than the men. And any other question?
Yeah, when you were saying that you were really the finance guy and you had the legal guy and the accountants, who was really in charge of all the operation and really like
Okay.
the meat of the cost?
On whose side? On the accounting side or on the company side?
Company side.
On the company side, the CFO, the finance director, will be in charge of the meat. Finance director. That's why, I mean, the two most important after you, giving you the benefit of the doubt, the two most important people on the board are the chairman, who's going to take care of you when they try to cut your throat, and the CFO, finance director, who understands, that has credibility when he's telling Deloitte, Goldman Sachs, whoever, you know. The others are important, the industry experts, and all, but and those are the guys. You normally take the finance director with you to meetings, and or the chairman. If for the finance director you can't get him, you bring the chairman. And then you got to brief the chairman. Don't let him come in there like a fucking idiot. I mean, you brief him. You go spend time with him and say, you know, you know, so he doesn't look foolish. Because he'll only look foolish one time in a meeting with you. Only once. You don't want to look foolish, but better you look foolish than he looks foolish.
So would you go over the execution?
No, you go over why are we seeing these guys? How do we meet these guys? Here's the executive summary again, Mr. Chairman, just in case you didn't have time to read it. Yeah, you know, have dinner with him the night before and you pick up the tab. Or have lunch, you know, brief him. First of all, he's used to being briefed. I'm used to being briefed. You know, see, you kids, when I'm in deals with you, you forget to brief me because you know I know your deal better than you do. But it's good practice for you to brief me, even though I do know your deals better than you. But it's good practice to, oh, Dan, you know, can I come over early? And then you brief me. And it's good practice not only to brief me, or the chairman, and it gives you, you know, just repetition. You know, repetition. You know, Faldo hit 6 million golf balls. I mean, why? Because practice. It's like a great golf coach once told me, he says, Dan, the only thing great golfers need more daylight. This is before he's from the era of no night ranges. Yeah, more daylight, because more daylights you can hit more golf balls. Practice more. Okay.
When we were in a situation where we're doing a role play, and you know, the guy from Goldman Sachs said, "Okay, I'm going to discuss it with my partners."
He's telling the truth. They will have to discuss it with the partners.
Yeah, but if you're in a hurry to do deals or get people on board, like financiers, and you know, you have Deloitte or whoever, then would you, you know, ask them in advance that whoever decision makers you need, can you have them in the room?
But for the first meeting, yeah, you want all the decision makers. But for the first meeting, you're going to be hard, unless this is a $500 million deal, or $500 million something, you know, like Aria's deal. I mean, he had a lot of people in the room because $330 million is a fairly chunky deal. But I mean, for your deal, you know, property maggot and all, I mean, you know, you might have a partner or two. But you got to have a partner. And the engagement partner on the other side, who drives the deal on the other side? The engagement partner. The engagement partner is the partner at the law firm or the accounting firm. Okay, YouTubers, good night.